Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Love and Action Network. I'm your host, Dr. Flo. Here at Love and Action Network, our mission is simple. We encourage, we equip, and we empower. And every week, we introduce you to people who are helping to create healthier communities through compassion, creativity, leadership, and healing. Today's guest is someone whose work beautifully reminds us that strength doesn't always have to look hard. Sometimes strength looks like softness. Sometimes strength looks like rest. Sometimes strength looks like finally giving yourself permission to stop surviving and to begin living. Joining us today is writer, entrepreneur, literary performer, and self-care strategist, NaKeesa Frazier-Jennings. Her work centers storytelling, resilience, identity, intentional self-care, and helping people create lives that move beyond constant survival. NaKeesa, welcome to
Hi.
Love and Action Network.
Thank you for having me.
NaKeesa. I love it so much. I had to get that name. You got explain us your to us your name, NaKeesa Frazier-Jennings. You got the hyphenated thing going on. Like, is there a meaning to NaKeesa, and what's the origin of your name?
The origin of my name is that my parents were trying to come up with a name, and one of them wanted to name me Keesa, and the other one said, why don't we put an NA in front of it? And so that is the short and sweet story of my name, how I became NaKeesa. And then Marie is my middle name, my maternal grandmother's middle name as well. And I love NaKeesa Marie together. So that's kind of what I go by professionally, but my government name is NaKeesa Frazier-Jennings, my maiden name and my married name hyphenated.
Amazing. I love women who are empowered to hold on to who they were before they got the hyphenated part.
Yes.
Yeah. When
Yes.
my time comes, I'm a hyphenated kind of girl as well.
Okay. All right.
We want the whole story to be there. We didn't, we don't
That's
move in
right.
parts. We move in our whole
Yeah.
thing. All right,
Yeah.
cool. So today I'd love to start at the beginning. Who was young NaKeesa?
Who was young NaKeesa? She was an eldest child and oldest daughter in a family, a Black family. She took that role very seriously and was, a protector, and just, I think, came into this world as a force in and of herself. I think a lot of who you see today, I was born with, and then I think it just developed more over time. But I often mention being an oldest sibling because I think that really shaped that, strength and whatnot. I was very outgoing. I was very talkative, still am. And I was very self-assured, and my parents said they don't know where I got any of that from, because my parents are very, especially back then, very reserved and quiet. And one of the stories they love to talk about is how when I learned to walk, I would go grab their hands, each one of them, and pull them over to the couch, and I would just talk to them in baby talk. I didn't know words yet, and they were not allowed to move. I would get very upset until I was done with my speech or whatever. And just yesterday, my dad said, well, you did do that, but when you were still in my lap, you would look up at me and you would be talking to me. And he said, what is she trying to say? So I've always been very, a person that communicated a lot, even before I had words. Very self-assured. And I really loved me from the very beginning. So that self-love, I feel like, was always there. It was nurtured over time. Sometimes I had to just know that for myself in the face of this society not feeling like I should feel that way. Yeah, that's who little NaKeesa was. I played the violin competitively. I don't know. Is that a thing that you? would
I
like
did
to
not
know
know
do
that you
you
were a musician at all. How did you
Yes,
know that you were
yes.
a musician?
I don't know. It probably just didn't come up for some reason in our many conversations. But yes, my mom is a very accomplished pianist, and she played for large audiences from the age of 5, I think. Um, hey, Tara. And I decided to try out the violin. So I played not as long as I would have liked to, because I went to a high school that only had a band and not an orchestra, and they were not very welcoming to me in the band as a stringed instrument. They did not make a place for me very easily, and so I moved on from that, but I still have those memories of playing when I was a little tiny thing, either solos or in duets, and I did it around the state and I won things sometimes. So yeah, that's who I was. Straight A student, graduated salutatorian of my high school class. Like I, classic good girl, but also very inquisitive, and also was very into right versus wrong. So I had a lot of questions when things didn't add up in
Mhm.
that way.
This tracks. This is very on brand for who you are today and
I
who
didn't
I
think
found
so.
you to be. Everything about it, the band competition stuff, which I have an overlap with, and a straight A's, which I have an overlap with, like everything about your energy today says that this is how you came into
Yeah,
being, and I love it. We
thank
talked a
you.
bit today about your speaking and the power of your speaking, and you having a powerful voice even before the words were formed. Let's talk a bit about your writing. And
Mhm.
the question is, when did writing become something more than simply putting words on paper for you?
I think it really started when I was in like those AP classes and having to write a lot for school. Um, and I really always tried to incorporate, even if it was just a book report, like really my thoughts and feelings about things. So I want to say that it kind of originated from that space. I had a diary growing up, but I wasn't really into that as much. It was really expressing it, I think, for my teachers in the world and things like that that were very important to me. And then I really didn't write a lot for other people outside of like middle school, high school, college years until um I think I started writing more as an adult when I was writing like blogs or things like that, marketing things for my husband's art practice because I was his manager. And then I discovered that, well, I got an opportunity that kind of fell in my lap to write an op ed. And it was just on from there because I was like, yeah, I got a lot to say about a lot of issues. So I started writing in that space quite a lot. Um, More specifically for a news outlet here in Seattle called the South Seattle Emerald. I've written several pieces for them. A couple of one of those pieces I know is in an anthology. Another newspaper here picked one of them up in 2020 because I had a lot to say in 2020. That summer was a lot for the Black community in particular. So, yeah, now I am part of two literary groups, the African American Writers Alliance. I joined in 2023, and then last year I joined Black Women Write Seattle Literary Group. And I would say joining those groups really has encouraged me to write even more. I actually just had a poem published yesterday in a outlet called a digital e-magazine called Speak the Sojourner, which is graciously provided to us by Hinton Publishing, which is an independent publishing house based here in Seattle that I have a lot of respect for. So I was really excited to be asked to write a poem for them for this episode. I mean, for this publication, this particular volume, I should say. And now I'm going to add poet to my resume because I guess I'm a poet now. And everything that I write is really around issues that I think need to have various voices talking about them, adding to the narrative. Most of my writing is about the Black experience, and more specifically, the Black woman's experience, meaning mine or mine combined with the people, the Black women who are in my life, my network, people that I know, and our experiences that are different and overlapping. I think that we need more voices from our community that are talking about our experiences versus other people telling our stories for us. So that's very important to me.
Woo! Reminded me of one of my dearest ancestors, Toni Morrison, who
Right.
didn't even put other cultures in her books.
Yeah.
She was like, we need to tell stories that center
Mm,
our experience and center our joy and center our self care unapologetically, because
yes.
other cultures are going to take care of who they take care of and center what they want to center.
Mhm.
And she said, not in my books.
That's right.
This is this is by us.
That's right. I remember hearing her say that. She was asked that, I think, in an interview. And, she made no apologies for it. And I love that because no one has anything to say, or there's no big uproar, maybe outside. Maybe except for it within our community when there's only one or no, Black characters in a story, or Black characters in a movie or a TV show or something. So I love that, and that will probably be what I do when I get into my fiction bag.
You're gonna get it all done. This is a go
Yeah.
getter, y'all. You're in the presence of a person who actualizes the dreams and then gets the extra dreams on the side of the dreams.
Yeah.
Poet didn't know it, and now
Poets
published.
and no.
So yeah, this is just amazing. I love it, and you always encourage me and inspire me to keep expanding
Yeah.
the mandate of the universe. I
Mhm.
feel to you and to me is to not contract and to shrink,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
to become bigger all the time and to explore how greater can I become, how
Mhm.
much more can I do. I know that this has come to you from having survived
Mhm.
so much in your life, and you talk about that in your work, and we've talked about that privately as well. What has survival looked like in your own life, and furthermore, how does that compel you to want to help other Black women survive through the use of self-care or the other tools that you employ?
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up because I was having a meeting earlier today with some Black women, and I was um, talking about how an elder of mine, a community auntie, asked me recently, when I did this one podcast episode recently, why didn't I talk about, when I was talking about my story, when I had a very tragic and very scary and life threatening medical emergency that lasted for a couple years. And I said, I don't hide it. I've talked about it, I've written about it, but I don't lead with that. And I often don't focus on it because I don't want Black women to hear the message from me that, oh, she's able to, or she deserves to engage in self care because she went through this. I deserve, and we deserve to engage in self care on a daily basis because we exist. So, yes, I was engaging in self care before that medical emergency happened in a different way. After it happened, I expanded it, I deepened it, I made some shifts, but I don't deserve it more than someone else, another Black woman, because I've gone through struggles. I think that every day in a Black woman's life is a day that we have to survive because there's so many things that are working against us doing that. And I don't even mean like our lives would end necessarily, but we would not be able to thrive, and we deserve to have that as well. So I think I overcome every single day in the face of the challenges and barriers that are intentionally and sometimes unintentionally put before me as a Black woman. It is part of my advocacy, it is my resistance, it is my right. to be that way and have those things. And so I want to encourage Black women, whether they have a totally soft life, they're, blessed enough to have that or not, that we still all deserve to have access to and engage in daily self care because we exist.
Because we exist.
Mm-hmm.
Whew, I love it. I love it. We've had a bunch of people on the podcast, and the recent wave, y'all have been some preachers and some teachers. It's so good. I'm like, I got my tambourine front row. I love it. I love it. In your one woman literary performance, uh, it's called Becoming Soft After the Strength.
Mm-hmm.
And that title alone says so much. But tell us about that, and also tell us what softness actually means to you and for you.
Softness for me is something that I am consistently aiming for. I wrote a piece called Soft that I wasn't asked to write that particular, subject matter, but I was asked to be a part of a literary program called Nonfiction for No Reason in 2023. And they asked every participant, every writer to write something new, bold. And I said, well, I think it's time for me to talk about how I've had to be strong for so long and how that I will always have to be that. But I knew that I needed to balance it with softness and accessing the softness within me because, again, I came into this world very much who you see today. And being the older sibling, I think that just puts you kind of naturally a lot of times in families in the space of needing to be strong, being a second or third parent to your younger sibling or siblings, be the responsible one, be the example. So and I was an overachiever and all these things, all of those things fit very nicely under the strength umbrella, but they don't always fit very nicely under or we aren't able to even access softness a lot, or take time to think about, excuse me, what that means for us. So that piece Soft that I wrote, it got a lot of great responses to it. People really love it. I've read it many times, and in really shifting my work now into focusing on self-care and very specifically self-care for Black women, I wanted to get my guided journals out there in the world. I wanted Black women to hear my story, have community conversations about why we need and deserve self-care. And I wanted to do it in a way that was the most inviting possible. So I said, oh, I have an idea. I'm going to merge my, writing from the essays that I've written into like a one-woman show, read those pieces, do a community conversation / Q&A, and then do a book signing afterwards. And so I just developed it and I did it. I launched it in 2020. I did it here at the Vashon Center for the Arts in the greater Seattle area. And back to your original question about what softness means to me. Softness to me means caring for myself in a very, very intentional way. Making sure that every single day I'm thinking about how can I exist in this day with as much ease as possible? Not do I get the things done, not do I do it through despair, not that I keep standing when I need to sit down for a few minutes. How do I engage in everything that I need to do in my life the easy way? Being a person who, like I said, oldest child, gifted program in school, all of that, I am used to pushing through, doing what I need to do. That was kind of how I existed. And it's interesting because it's not like I didn't try to take care of myself or that I didn't in certain ways. I just needed to refine what that looked like even more. And so for me this year, 2026, I have named it the year of ease for me. So I do things like um, I will do my best if I am able to be the owner of my calendar because sometimes I'm not able to be that, but a lot of times I am. So my rule is I'm not going to have more than 4 meetings a day because I need time to think. I need time to um, just ponder what may have been talked about in the last meeting. I need time to plan. I need time to do the work. And so if I overload my schedule, then I don't have thinking time. I might have a little time to actually do tasks, but am I doing those tasks in the most intentional way possible? Maybe not. And also, is it best for me as the human to operate in that way? So I started thinking about a bunch of different things in my life that I wasn't necessarily doing with the most ease, and I changed it. So I don't have great examples of what that means now. I try to make sure that, I'm comfortable. Like even my work chair, it's like, do I need a back pillow? Do I need more lumbar support? Do I need to put my feet up? I'm not gonna make myself uncomfortable when it's something that I can change. But I think that we as Black women are socialized to not operate in that way, to push through, to get it done no matter what the circumstances or how comfortable we are or what is going on for us as an individual human. I also think softness means not being self-sacrificing to a fault. I don't even um engage in self-sacrifice. I will say I do things for the people in my life, but I do them from my overflow, not what's in my cup, because what's in my cup is for me. What's in my cup is what I need to be whole, what I need to continue, what I need to survive, right? So they can have the excess, but they cannot have what's in my cup because that's like me chopping my multivitamin in half or maybe in tenths and giving 9 tenths away and keeping 10% for me. I need everything that's in the multivitamin. What's on that, label? I need all that stuff, not 10% of it. So I need everything in my cup. So that's another way that I'm treating myself with softness. Um, I can think of an example now. I starting last year or the year before, I think really 2020, what we went through. A lot of us as Black people in the US is in particular, the things that we saw on the news, the things that were reported, the fear that a lot of us had. Um, I said, I can't take in so much of this anymore. So not only did I start getting more of it out through my writing, I started adjusting how much I took in. So I am very, very careful now and very intentional about what even entertainment I will ingest. I don't want to feel certain way. I don't want to feel scared. I'm like, I feel scared enough walking in this world as a Black woman. I don't need to be in fear, and have those feelings come up by watching a scary movie even. I will not watch movies about that depict Black people being enslaved. I know that story, I'm very well versed. Don't need to keep ingesting that. So that's another way that softness and kind of ease show up in my life. And in my mind, these are like free ways to access self-care that I don't think we think about. But I always tell people self-care really is free. There are plenty of things we could pay for sure. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do those things when we have the budget to do them or the resources to do them. But there are plenty of things if we look at our way of life and what doesn't fit, what's not fair, what's not right, and doesn't make us feel cared for, see what you can do to change it.
Perfect segue. I love, 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 love that you've introduced self care into the conversation and that you are daily. Y'all got to follow her on threads every day. She is the champion of self care. And
Mhm.
I love what you talked about earlier with filling up your own cup and filling up your own tank and not chopping your multivitamin. I just took mine this morning on my TikTok live, and I'm just like, yeah, imagine if we just gave away those good minerals
Mhm,
to others, expecting ourselves to get well.
mhm, mhm.
That would
Expecting
be.
ourselves to even stay whole, not
Mhm.
even get well. I mean, yes, get well, not to diminish what you said, but for us to maintain, how are you maintaining when you're trying to pour from an empty cup? Like, I don't think we think about it that way. And I often say to Black women that come to me and who are in my life, that I can say this to. Um, you're saying you can't invest in self-care because you have all these people depending on you, kids, maybe parents, what have you, partners. But what happens if you go down? So if you flip it and think about, I actually need to invest in myself more so that I can stay steady, so I can stay whole, so I can stay well, so I can stay afloat, because those people are depending on me. Really, it is a gift that you're giving yourself and the people that you love and that depend on you, because no one thinks about pushing, 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 or too few of us think about pushing, 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 pouring from an empty cup, and what happens when that cup crumbles, when that cup is like no more. So you either will, your body might sit you down temporarily, or it might sit you down permanently. And then people are going to have to scramble to figure out how to exist without you playing that same role, or without you even being here, maybe. So think about it in a longevity. I'm trying to make sure that I have longevity and that I am happy and whole and joyful and cared for every single day, for them and also for myself, because you only get one you.
Ooh, I'm aligned.
Yeah.
You
I know you
I'm
are.
aligned. You're speaking to the right mama jamma. Okay.
Mhm.
You describe yourself as a self care strategist.
Mhm.
What is something that you think many people misunderstand about self care?
I think back to what I said a few minutes ago, that it costs money. I think that they believe that if it doesn't look a certain way, like how maybe somebody else's looks, maybe on TV, or some celebrity or something, that they may as well not even try, because they don't have the resources or the time or the assistance or whatever to have theirs look that way. I think that people get it wrong, that they don't have as much control over their lives as they actually do. I always say to the Black women that come to me and that I'm close to, name a household that has a Black woman in it, no matter what role, she plays, um, and tell me how many times she's not the owner of the family or household schedule. She's the one that is the person who is making sure all the pieces fit together and everybody gets to where they need to go and everybody gets their checkups and this and that. So why can't you put your own care on that calendar, on that schedule? You can, you just haven't been socialized to do so. And sometimes when we do live with other people, because I also say that Black women are socialized to be completely self-sacrificing, and everybody else around us was socialized to receive the benefit of that self-sacrificing nature. So everybody actually needs to be coming along for the ride of your self-care, because it's going to need to be a shift for them too, but it's a shift that they can make. So always make sure that you are able to put yourself on your own priority list, because it doesn't even make sense if it's your priority list and you're not on it. That really, if you say it out loud, I think most people would agree that that doesn't make sense and that you deserve that. So I think people get it wrong how much power and control they actually have, because we've been socialized not to exercise that. But I would encourage them to sit down and think about ways that they can. And I'm not saying that it needs to happen overnight or in some big, way at once. Little incremental steps, and bring along the people in your life with you.
I know that you've talked about this a lot in the episode, but I want to unpack it a bit further. You said in your work that when Black women thrive, everyone around them benefits.
Mhm.
Can you take that a bit deeper?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that was important to me when I was raising young children was making sure that my daughter saw me taking care of myself, because I am one of her first, not only, but one of her first um, same gender, person that she's looking up to, right? Example. So I wanted her to see that, yes, I love spending quality time with you. We had our little things we did together, just the two of us. We did things as a family. She went with me to the gym because the gym I belonged to had a little kiddie section where they did like little kid friendly workouts. But she also saw me have alone time. She saw me reading. She saw me taking care of myself in many ways. She knew I had doctor's appointments just like her. And then my son also saw that. So if he grew up and partnered with a woman, hopefully it was instilled in him that he should not expect for her to be completely self-sacrificing to her detriment, but his benefit. Like that, he wouldn't even think that way. So I think it's very important that we show that example to our children, and to our partners if we have them, and extended family, because being in a role like mine, which a lot of Black women are too, the eldest child, or the oldest daughter. Oh my goodness, the things that are expected when you are in that role, a lot of times are just absolutely inappropriate in my opinion. And they're not loving, they're not thinking of you as a human, a whole human, a person. You are to be there for everybody, and they're not thinking about the toll that that can take on you. So again, it will be some teaching and some, requirements for other people to adjust, but it will be for everybody's benefit, because you will be making sure that you are taking care of yourself. And everybody needs to learn that lesson around us because they've been taught something different about what our roles are supposed to be. And it's time for that to change.
Agreed. Agreed. Looping back to what we talked about earlier, with you having written for publications, performed your original literary work, created your guided journals, what role does vulnerability play in your work?
I think the fact that I am so open about so many things, that I think that in a lot of Black households, we were taught like what happens in our house is our business. We don't talk about our business in front of white folks in particular. We don't tell our business to any folks, regardless of the community they belong to. But I am going against that because I definitely want for my stories to be a source of whatever it needs to be a source of for Black women and Black people in general. Um, but I want people who are not part of our community to know the toll that this reality has taken on us. And if they truly are allies, accomplices, whatever it is they're calling themselves these days, that you know the toll that it's taken. And now that you know, because they say when you know better, you're supposed to do better, right? That's a saying. So now you know. It wasn't a mystery before, but I think that what I found, especially when I've been in front of mostly white audiences, to hear a Black woman actually say those things in person in front of them in the same room, because this isn't fiction. This isn't a movie that you can cry about, wipe your tears, go home, and back to your privilege. This is a Black woman right here. She's staring you in the eye, and you her, and you're hearing about the things that she has had to endure throughout her life. And she's doing that not just unapologetically, but very vulnerably. And you need to sit with that and you need to figure out what you're going to do to not be a person that continues to cause harm in our society to people who look like me, and what you're going to do to actually change things. Because just not doing harm is only part of it. You have to actually put action toward changing the reality for this world. And you're in the privileged category of people, so it's your responsibility more than anyone else's to do something about it. So it's very vulnerable for me to share, all those things, because I was not raised to, tell my business. And I'm doing that. I'm doing that in rooms with live audiences. I'm doing it on social media. I'm going to be doing it on my new podcast that I just launched recently, and so will other Black women. And it is because we need to add our voices even more to the narrative, and we need to create our own narrative, especially around what our experiences are, our realities, and why self-care is so important for us.
I always say in the network, we cannot heal what we cannot talk about.
Right?
We cannot heal what can't be named. If the
Yes.
things that we went through in the past or the things that we're going through are kind of like Lord Voldemort, Harry Potter, he who shall not be named. We're still whispering about these things, especially the grievances and the things that hurt us. There's no way to get liberation and dominion over these things. And so I
Mhm.
appreciate you for saying the quiet part out loud. I know that
Mhm.
sometimes we shake the table and we
Mhm.
clear a room, and people get
Mhm.
very intimidated around this level of boldness. But I
Mhm.
applaud you for that, because that's what's going to truly set the captives free, as we used to say in
Yeah.
the cult of Christ.
Yeah. Well, well, I want to share one thing with you back to who little NaKeesa was. So when I was like 3, I think it's one of my mom's. I think it's like one of her favorite stories, but it also makes her die a little bit inside because it all happened so fast. So something was going on with her car, and my dad had taken it in to get fixed. So we had a tradition, I think, of going to the mall every Saturday. I don't know what we did that, I don't have like those memories, but we were, I think, coming from our local mall, and we were at the bus stop, and she said this white man was sitting on the bench with us, and she was like, he was not friendly. He was not inviting. He was just like sitting there with us. I'm holding your brother, and and then holding your hand. And he was eating some popcorn, and the popcorn smelled so scrumptious. I think it just took over me. And I walked up to him and said, my mommy says it's nice to share. And he stopped eating his popcorn and gave it to me. He'd only had a couple kernels, and then went into the McDonald's or whatever that was like near the bus stop and got me a soda to go with it. And she was like, it happened so fast. She was like, I really shouldn't have allowed you to take something from a stranger. Like, that's not something she would, typically do. But I think that that really sums up who I am and who I always was. I said I was very much into like right versus wrong. And also, um, at 3, I didn't see any difference between him and me with like our skin color, right? I just said, because I believe it was a white man. I'll have to ask my mom to confirm that. But I didn't see any difference between me and anyone. I saw you sitting here with this good smelling popcorn, and you didn't even offer to share. And I have to share all my stuff, with my friends and my little brother and all that. So I believe that people from all communities need to hear our stories, and they need to hear them from us, and they need to figure out how to share, and they need to do it in a way that will not be harmful to us. And it is their mess to figure out, because we didn't create this.
Team sharing. I'm team sharing too. I was just talking this morning on the TikTok live about interdependence and how
Mm,
I didn't shuck the corn I ate today. I didn't pick the spinach. I didn't raise the chicken. I didn't do any of that. We are so interdependent on each other as
mhm,
humanity to
mhm,
increase in our joy and our abundance, and we
mhm,
don't have enough time today in this episode. She's going to be back later in the year in fireside chats to go mile deep with us.
mhm.
A lot of people want to go inch deep only, but NaKeesa's going to be going mile deep with us this year. uh, we are so dependent upon each other in order to
Mhm,
grow and to thrive, and to know it makes life that much richer, whether it's the popcorn and the soda
mhm.
or holding space in the ways that we are today. And
Mhm,
I wish that people would come out of the survival mode that we
mhm,
have accustomed ourselves to
mhm,
being in into that energy that you're talking about.
mhm.
What are some of the signs that you've seen as we land this that people are stuck in survival mode, or that they've closed off instead of being the open person that you are and the open person that you were?
That when Black women are vulnerable, in particular Black women, I'm going to speak for us, that we don't find that the support is there. So I think that that keeps a lot of us from asking for help, from taking that chance that we'll be harmed more if we do. So we rather just not even go there. It's a defense mechanism. And I think it's a trauma response. And it is very, very understandable because a lot of times that is the case. And sometimes we might get the help and then someone will bring it up later, against us when we might have to set a boundary or something, because all of this is new, uncharted territories, really, for us. This is still very new for Black women to say, nope, I'm taking care of myself. I'm going to put that on the calendar. It's going to be a daily part of my life. So there's bound to be people fighting against that, right? So I think that that's one of the reasons why that happens. There's many, but I think that's one of the main ones that I have seen.
All right, last kind of official question of the pod today. Uh, what does a life of intention actually look like?
Like I said, for me, a life of intention is I'm making sure that that calendar is mostly in support of me and what I need and what I want. So calendar management seems like a tedious, I don't feel like doing, like a task, but really it is. I often say I've scheduled my way to freedom because I make sure that I am on there from the moment I open my eyes, even while I'm asleep. My environment, my atmosphere, wherever I'm sleeping, has to be just right. It has to be comfortable for me so I can get restorative rest, not just close my eyes. So, my calendar has allowed me to schedule my way to freedom. I balance work, I balance fun time, I balance time outside. Um, I am just making sure that I have what I need so that I can show up in the ways that I need to, not just for other people, but for myself. Because again, I only have one me. And I really just don't want to get to um the housing place for active seniors, wherever that will be for me. I don't want to get to that
Yes,
community
yes.
for active or semi-active seniors, whatever it is you choose. I don't want to be in that place and have regrets. I want to make sure that at every age and stage in my life that I continue to be a priority and that I didn't prioritize other people or other things, because it could be your church community, it could be your job, it could be a whole bunch, it could be your book club, it could be whatever, it could be other community things that you do, but you deserve to invest in you first and foremost. And a lot of people will say that that's selfish. It is not. It's self-preservation. And I deserve to preserve myself. So that's my answer. I hope I answered that one correctly.
You land with I deserve to preserve myself and hope that you answered it correctly.
Well, I
Oh,
mean, I
you
don't,
nailed it.
yeah, I
You
just
nailed
didn't
it.
know if I went off into a space that you weren't, thinking, but yeah.
Well, listen, we run a chapter of People Pleasers Anonymous here. And one of the biggest pillars of People Pleasers Anonymous is self honoring
Mhm.
and self preserving. And it's this is my spiritual language on my
Okay.
podcast. Nothing sounds like a giant fuck you to a narcissist or a person who wants to take all of your time and energy than self honoring and
Mhm.
preserving yourself. They get
Mhm.
really tight
Oh,
and
yeah.
offended when you go into
Yeah.
self preservation mode and they want you to
Absolutely.
do something for them, even if it's nothing more than listening to them complain.
Mhm.
And so,
Mhm.
what I love about you, and you can just feel it in her, like from the moment you meet her, y'all, she has healthy boundaries that are not going to be violated by riffraff or any level of instability or disorganization that you're bringing. It is brilliant to see, and I've adapted and taken on qualities of the way you live into my life as well because it's just so healthy. It's beyond healthy. All right,
So,
we're in rapid fire now.
okay,
And just for the record,
ready.
you did an amazing job, darling.
You.
What's one word that describes healing for you?
I'm sorry, this is not very rapid. I would say peace
What's a
because
book
we
that
often
ever?
don't get it, right? We often don't get it. So, peace for
Yeah,
me is healing.
we don't get it or we don't tap into it.
I think that this society doesn't offer it to us, so sometimes it's very difficult to tap into. Yes, I think both.
Both, yeah. What's one book that everyone should read?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
I know. I
Can we
talk.
come back to that one? Because
Okay, yeah, I
I'm
know.
the writer.
You
It's
got a you got
like
a whole wall of books. I'm gonna zoom
it's
in on
so
you right here. There's a whole wall. There's a whole wall of books behind you, and I asked you to pick just one. What is wrong with me?
it's too difficult. I'm
I know.
sorry.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Coffee or tea? Coffee or tea?
Tea,
Morning or
tea,
evening?
tea, tea. The UK way. I put milk and and yeah, tea.
Oh
Loose
yeah.
leaf, preferably.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I'm a West Coast black lady, like you called me. So it's
You are a West Coast black lady. You are. You come on. Have you ever had Harney and Sons loose leaf tea?
mm-mm.
Okay, I'll have to add that to my Christmas list for you because yeah, I love watching like a oolong unfurl in the bottom of the
Yeah.
yeah, and then a little spot of cream and honey and just yeah, yeah. We can be a West Coast black ladies together. I am mad about it. I love it. I love because although you're from over here originally,
I
but
am. I'm from the DMV, from
yeah,
DC, but I've been living in Seattle so long, it's home now. But you said that about my avocado toast that you saw me receive on camera one
yeah, because
day.
we're not gonna pretend like the West Coast blacks are not like different. Like that that's a whole a Seattle black girl. We love
But
it
I
though.
embrace it. This is where I need to be. It was destined for me to be a West Coast black lady, and I
I
am that through and through.
with the avocado toast. I ain't mad
Yeah.
about it. If you like it, I love it. Are you into morning or evening writing more?
Probably evening.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And what's a place that brings you peace?
My home.
Yes, I could tell that you're
Mhm.
cozy there in your
Yeah.
fortress. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
We talked about this earlier, but what's one lesson that you wish every black woman knew?
It's the same thing. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but that you need to understand and really embrace that you deserve self-care just because you exist. It's not some extra thing. It's not something you need to earn. It's not a reward. It is something you deserve every day. So, like I said, people can start small. They can start by like taking their actually taking their lunch break if they get one, instead of working through. If that's something that you can give yourself, if you can take PTO to just have a 3-day weekend just because, curl up on the couch, rub your feet together and Netflix and chill by yourself, do it. We have a lot of things at our disposal that we don't take advantage of because of programming, I believe. So I want us to change our mindset so we can change our lives. And I didn't mean that to sound like a bar, but it kind of did.
Okay, poet didn't know it, and now published.
And now published.
And now published. Speaking of which, any upcoming books, performances, journals, or projects that you'd like the audience to know about, and where can they find you?
They can find me online on my website at NaKeesaMarie.com. Across all social media platforms at NaKeesa Marie. And I have 8 books, 8 guided journals for kids, teens, and adults. But my baby, the one I'm most proud of, and I put the most, I think, time into, is 100 Days of Gentle Accountability for Black Women. It is 100 days of 6 of the same writing prompts. And this particular version, the deluxe version, has pictures of us. Hopefully I did my best. Every representation, every look, every skin tone, every hair texture, every age and stage in life. And I also have, because this one with colored pictures is at one price point, I have one without images that is at a lower price point. And I hope that people will gift Black women this journal. I hope that organizations and corporations and people who got it like that will buy them in bulk, because I do offer them 50% off if you order 10 or more. And then, like I mentioned briefly earlier, I have a new podcast, my first time as a podcast host, The Self-Care Engineer. The first episode is on my YouTube channel right now, and I will be having some amazing dynamic Black women on there who will talk about self-care in all different types of ways. We all have overlapping experiences, and we have our own experiences. I will also be featuring Black women who are not engaged in self-care yet, because there are plenty of us who that is a reality for, and I am not excluding any Black woman's voice from that space. So I'm really excited about that. I hope that you will find me, The Self-Care Engineer, at NaKeesa Marie on YouTube, and tune in to my amazing podcast as I'm getting it launched right now.
I love, love, love you and your work and the seeds that you're planting. And Love and Action Network will do everything in our power to bring buckets of water to help you grow in all the ways that you seek to do so. Thank you again for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
We can't wait to have you back for the fireside chats and beyond. Your work reminds us that healing isn't simply about becoming stronger. Sometimes healing is allowing ourselves to become gentler. Sometimes courage sounds quieter than what we expected. And sometimes the greatest act of resistance is choosing to rest. And so thank you again for sharing your wisdom, your heart, and your story with us today. To everyone listening, if today's conversation encouraged you, be sure to subscribe, share this episode with someone you love, and continue helping us to spread compassion around the world. Until next time, as always, we say, stay in your power, stay in your joy, stay loved and lovable, and we will see you on the next episode.